You flick a lighter, spark a joint, and take a deep breath. A woody smell drifts through the window. But what happens inside your body and brain next? Why does this little green plant change everything you feel? Cannabis has fascinated humans for thousands of years. Today, millions use it recreationally or medically. But what's really happening? To understand the high, we need to break the plant down into its active chemicals, THC and CBD. Native to Central Asia, cannabis has become a global industry with hundreds of strains. Some are mild, some strong, but nearly all contain a mix of THC, the main psychoactive chemical, and CBD, which has calming effects. In dispensaries, strains are labeled, but in illegal markets, it's guesswork. What you hold could be mild or extremely potent. Either way, the journey begins the moment smoke enters your lungs. Let's follow it step by step. Inside each puff are thousands of compounds. The stars of the show are THC and CBD. THC delivers a high, euphoria, altered senses, munchies. CBD doesn't get you high, but it calms the brain, reducing anxiety. When you inhale, smoke fills your lungs. These aren't empty balloons. They're packed with 480 million alveoli, tiny sacs that absorb gases. Oxygen fuels life. But today, they're absorbing THC and CBD straight into your blood. In seconds, THC molecules pass through those microscopic walls and surge into your bloodstream. Like tiny neon messengers, they ride your circulatory system, spreading to every organ, including the command center, your brain. Because lungs are so efficient, smoking delivers an almost instant effect. Within seconds, THC reaches your head. That's why you can feel a high before you've even exhaled. Let's crack your skull open and look inside. Your brain contains cannabinoid receptors that THC fits into like a key. Once unlocked, brain regions start firing differently. CBD calms certain areas, while THC often stimulates them, creating both euphoria and paranoia. The amygdala processes fear and anxiety. CBD quiets it down. THC can crank it up. The result? Some feel mellow bliss. Others spiral into worry. The effect depends on your brain chemistry, strain, and dosage. Once THC takes hold, the world shifts. Colors brighten. Sounds deepen. Food tastes incredible. Music feels layered, emotional. THC also stimulates hunger signals, which is why you raid the fridge and devour snacks like never before. This is a famous Munchies effect. THC hijacks hunger hormones, making you believe you're starving. It's harmless, except to your chip stash. But not every effect is fun. Reflexes and motor control slow dramatically. THC disrupts areas that manage movement and planning. You react slower, speak slower, and process information less efficiently. That's why driving high is dangerous. Studies show accident risk rises up to 4 times under marijuana. For many, the calming effect dominates. But others experience paranoia, especially on the come down. THC boosts imagination, but if that turns dark, worries spiral. The same dose can relax one person, but rattle another. Still, THC also enhances creativity. Artists throughout history use it to unlock fresh perspectives, combined with reduced pain and anxiety. This often creates euphoria, the high. But how long it lasts depends on how you consume. Smoking it's fast but fades in about 3 hours. Edibles are different. Digesting THC makes it slower to kick in, but a high can stretch for 6, even 12 hours, sometimes a full day. That's why edibles can surprise people. You think nothing's happening, so you eat more. Suddenly, you're too high for way too long. Unlike smoking, edibles trickle THC into your bloodstream, extending and intensifying effects. Studying cannabis is tough. Strains vary, people's brains vary, and THC interacts with hundreds of chemicals inside the plant. Even a grain of sand-sized brain sample contains 100,000 neurons and 1 billion synapses. Complexity is unavoidable. That's why one puff leaves one person anxious but another totally zen. Age, genetics, and tolerance shape the experience. In general, occasional marijuana use is relatively harmless, as long as you're not driving or operating machinery. But marijuana isn't risk-free. Heavy teenage use can disrupt brain development. THC may trigger psychosis in those already predisposed to it. And frequent use creates dependence, not lifelong addiction, but short-term cravings and irritability. Humanity has used cannabis for over 4,000 years. Ancient Chinese texts described it as medicine. In Hinduism, it was linked to the god Shiva. Across Greece and Rome, it treated ailments from pain to inflammation. In colonial America, hemp was so vital that George Washington grew it. By the 1800s, cannabis extracts were sold in pharmacies. But shifting politics and fear campaigns soon transformed its image completely. In the 20th century, cannabis was lumped with heroin and cocaine. By Nixon's 1971 war on drugs, it was branded public enemy number one. Billions were spent jailing users instead of studying the plant. Laws were shaped by stigma, not science. Marijuana was demonized as addictive, brain-rotting, and a gateway drug. But evidence shows tobacco and alcohol are just as much gateways. And trauma is an even stronger predictor. So what's the truth? Cannabis is a miracle cure-all, and it isn't pure evil. It's complex, a plant that can calm, inspire, or harm, depending on who uses it, how, and why. And that's fascinating. If you enjoyed exploring the science behind cannabis, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss our next big question answered.